Hi, good evening to all. What if I told you that the biggest blocker of success in your life or work is nothing external? It's something internal. It's your lack of vigilance. How many of you can resonate with this or agree or disagree with that? Ponder over it. Take your time and ponder over it. I will just tell you with my examples of coaching which I have done for myself and for others, where this vigilant mindset has been a very great change in their life. Hi, I am Rajesh and I help select few new IT professionals become top performers, though they have emotional, time, as well as self sabotaging conflicts in themselves in 100 days instead of wasting years and years. Now, what do I mean by that? As a vigilant mindset coach, I subscribe to the principle which I've been following for many, many years, that if you are vigilant, you can do it in a few days what would otherwise take many, many years. See, many people climb to the top of their work after many, many years diligently working very, very hard. Now, that's not to say that it is false, it is true. But the point you want to ask is that do you want to achieve to becoming a great performer, a top performer in months instead of putting years and years? That is something you need to deeply think about. I'll give you a few examples in my own life. I read this statement when I was 19 years old in a book, a small booklet which said, if you are vigilant, you change every circumstance of your life. Now, I didn't really understand the import of what it exactly meant for many, many years because I was not vigilant at that time, but that kept on knocking on my head. What is that exactly? Wow, how should I be vigilant? Then, over a few years after that, I realized that I am basically drifting like a cork in a sea. There is no question of a willed action in my side. So, there was some clue that yes, I am not at all vigilant, was a realization I had. Then, after a few more years, I began to apply my will and aspire and get to somewhat vigilant. Then, after a few years, I was a mediocre and then an average and then become really good vigilant mindset myself. It took a lot and lot of work from my side. So the point is to become to develop this vigilant mindset. It can take months, yes, but that is if you have a dedicated person who has succeeded and failed much more to tell you how to avoid and succeed. I'll give a couple of small stories to as an example from my own life to bring home the point. My niche is I help basically IT senior managers, though of course I have helped a number of professionals in the past. I'll give my personal life experience. About close to 2 decades ago, I was a manager in a big five firm, and then I had a junior who was extremely good at coding, so and so that it went on to her head that she can do anything with everybody. She was the client favorite. She was my favorite too, but then it got into her head that she became that she's too powerful. She's invincible. Nothing wrong with that, except for a fact that in one of the releases, that is when we are developing a software and releasing it to people, it crashed once. Now, as a manager, I am obviously responsible for that. But the point is that was no good a coder at that particular point in time. I knew about databases, but I didn't know less on the .NET coding at that particular point in time. And my prodigy, as I should say, was an expert in that. She said that this release has gone flat. There is something wrong in that. Now, when I confronted her, she was very arrogant, but she said, no, but it is actually not my problem. It's a system problem. It's a development problem. She tried to weave a big story about that, which I was not convinced. Then I took her to a room, a very big room of about 30 feet by 4 feet, whiteboard, very big whiteboard in a very big hall. I said, and then I took another project manager also, just to ensure that there is objectivity uh, in my interrogation, I should say. I said, why don't we do one thing? Let's go to a room and let's try to dissect where exactly this particular issue is. And then, what happened subsequently was that that subordinate accepted readily. She was full of confidence at that particular point in time that I was a small fry and she can just like that get away with that. So then I asked her to just explain the situation from the start in a whiteboard. My point was just that I had no other ammunition, no other expertise, no other skills in that particular software. It's a very honest admission. And she was very confident. She went about and explaining what was the issue and then where it had happened. She drew lines. I asked her questions at every step. This happened, what was happened, why this has happened. It went on and on. The entire whiteboard was getting filled until it came up to a particular point when the mistake surfaced, and I said, who has done this particular mistake? She tried to evade, but I said, I want an answer exactly telling who has done this particular mistake. And she immediately said that me. So I said, there, so you are responsible for this release going south, and you are nailed for that. You are responsible, and I'm going to send out a mail to that particular effect as to where this has happened. So don't try to. So it was very evident. She accepted that, and that happened in front of another peer project manager who was actually supposed to take over from me, but he got to know clearly that the person who has been giving the perceptions of being very invincible in coding was actually not. Now, mind you, why am I saying this? Because I went into that particular room with no knowledge, no background, nothing. But it was like a court hearing with a very confident con woman, I should say. But I managed to fix it. As you see, if you had seen the movie like A Few Good Men, I did. Who ordered the Code Red when Tom Cruise asked, and Jack Nicholson says, "Are you damn right? Well, I did." So I got it out of her. Now, that was the first big moment of victory for me with respect to vigilant mindset. Why am I again emphasizing that? You don't have to have a great many skills. You should have some basic skills in which you are good. That is enough. Apart from that, this mindset is that even if you don't know many things, you will get there. Even if you are not very qualified, you will get there. Now, what is required from your side to get into this particular vigilant mindset? Just two things. One is aspiration and another is will. That's all. That is all is needed. There is no complicated rocket science, this, that, nothing is required. Now, willpower everybody knows. And what is aspiration? Aspiration is basically for those souls. I believe many of you are here because you want to have a higher life. There is a call inside you to live a higher life with a higher purpose. And the higher purpose always belongs to the divine, not for the higher regions. It is nothing to do with religion. It is a call of the soul. If you have that particular aspiration, not a vindictive side, a call for the big vindictive, I'm not talking in a Hitlerian side, a call for doing a higher things as well as the willpower. If you have both, vigilance mindset will develop in you in a matter of few years if you are very, very determined. And if you're ultra determined and you have a very good coach, you can achieve your victory very fast. That's why I said I can help you make a top performer in 14 weeks. It's about 100 days without wasting years and years. Now, what makes me qualified to say that? I spent close to 20 years to understand the effectiveness of vigilance. From having not understood it, I understood it and then became a practitioner, and I'm a full-fledged practitioner of vigilant mindset. All right. Now, I have written a book where I cover vigilant mindset in a smaller way. It is called Aspire the Will to Victory. You can see that, where it has got about 40 testimonials and 90% plus success rate. Plus, I have also emphasize what is the coaching methodology you need to follow. And also I have put about 6 riveting case studies which are from my side very extraordinary, where people who didn't have it were coached by me and they became top performers. And it has got 2 case studies in the personal side also, where a 30-year-old almost divorce case was stopped, and a 17-year-old marriage breakup which was about to happen also stopped. These are the those 6 extraordinary studies. So that is what I wanted to say to you. Now, this is a synopsis of the coaching which I said I would cover. Now, I mentioned aspiration and will. How do we get into aspiration? I am want to have a better life is a normal thing. Yeah, that is true. How do we get into that? I have detailed in that book. Plus, I would like to cover it a little briefly for you to get to it. Now, the whole purpose is to make you live the life you want. It is not like a Hollywood actor doing a beautiful shot during that time and then living an ordinary life. No, you have to be in that state of vigilance. If you are vigilant, you will change every circumstance of your life. Okay. Now, to get to that would involve disciplined work, which should amount to spending time with yourselves. As I said, it is not external issue which is the cause, it is the internal issue. As it is internal, it is very, very imperative that you people spend time with yourselves. Very, very clean that instead of spending time outwards, like people are getting self sabotaged by seeing movies, getting a lot of Instagram, Facebook, TV, laptop, whatnot, and most of the time it's meaningless content. I think Stephen also mentioned that very clearly, that you should not consume and you should be a producer. I get exactly what he mentions. You have to be a creator. But in my case, I am saying that to the extent possible, don't consume any meaningless content from anywhere, okay? Whether it is offline, online, everything is included. Why? Because they go and attack your subconscious, and it will give you a sense of guilt for every time, every day, and every hour you waste. There is a profound saying which says, an idiot hour destroys work of centuries. I'm exactly saying that. So any meaningless content you have to avoid. This is a big no. You should have a thorough discipline on eating and drinking. And number 4 is idleness. Now you have many different things which attack you in moments of idleness. Very good people in a moment of weakness and idleness do things which they can't imagine at otherwise when they are sober. So there is a discipline which I teach on no media, that is no to meaningless content, eating, drinking, idleness, as well as anger. This is the basic framework. Once you get a very solid hold on it, every day you will start seeing that energy comes into you very, very naturally. You are becoming strong, you will become self confident, you will be assertive and more energetic. These are very important traits for a top performer. That I cover in detail. And in my coaching, I teach clearly. As I said, you have got problems with self esteem, you have got problems with self sabotaging. I have been through a lot of times. There have been many times I was actually bullied for about 7 years in my school, as well as in my neighborhood, and I had a very, very hard time getting out of it. But in my 7th year of bullying, and I was 16, I was determined that I will make a mark. I will do one thing which will entirely shift the game. So in my neighborhood, there was a cycle race which was going on, and I was bullied. I have to tell the story that I was bullied for many, many years by people who were older than me, about 5 to 6 years. They used to drag me like a wolf pack. Wolf pack, you know how the wolf or hyena pack attacks a lion. I could deal with them one on one. Doesn't matter about how older they were, but as a group, I couldn't do. So they systematically sabotaged me for about 7 years. And then when I was 16 and they were 21, 22, there was a cycle race in the place where we were. I lived in Theosophical Society, so there was a 4 kilometers cycle race, and then I was the youngest of the lot, and my bullies were there, and I felt that that was a chance for me to prove. Now at 16, you have tremendous amount of energy, no doubt about it. Of course, you also have the same at 21. So I took part in the race, started the last. After 1 kilometer, I caught up with every one of them. About 1.5 kilometers, I beat the last one, and then that gave so much energy that I just went at very high speed to my finish line and finished first. Now, that was a very clear message to everybody that the person who was bullied the most there has outsmarted them, humiliated them in their own physical prowess. I beat the strongest of them by close to about half a mile in that. Now that completely shifted the game. That they couldn't digest. Why God, what is this? So, what is this? Somebody whom we had loathed, he has beaten us. It's shame on us. I could see it very visibly in their eyes and said, and it completely shifted the game from their side. Now, a year exactly later, I had taken an entrance examination, which was very, very important for me to get into engineering. And there also, I got in my first attempt and into an IIT. And my bullies would never even do a proper arts graduation. Nothing to dilute to that. So that was my second big victory. So once I got the second victory, they said, no, no, he actually is at a somewhere different level. He can't be anymore bullied. And though I was not a part of their friends group, they maintained a respectful distance from then on. Okay, that was my situation at those years. The moot point I want to try is that even if you have got a long drawn struggling difficulty, there is just one shift you need to make, one big action which will pull you out of that, and that comes with vigilant mindset, and it doesn't come overnight. Your own subconscious will sabotage you day in and day out. Even if you win on day one, day two you can lose, day three you can lose, day four you can lose. Then again you come back to winning on day five. Then it's a series of cycles till you become completely steady that thus far now I will not allow myself to sabotage me. I will maintain my standard of life at this level and not at this level. Many of you who have seen Suits know about that, how that Harvey Specter decided a certain way of living. So you will maintain a very high standard of living and working from it. You will not sabotage yourself. That's exactly what I teach. And I specifically say from an IT perspective, more so because I am from that particular background. And once you start applying it, you will see the results in 3 weeks. So if you're interested more about it, and if you are on the fence, I don't know whether I'm telling the right thing or not, you can read my book, which is there in Amazon, which is a bestseller. I can share the link for those who you want. You can read my book, read my testimonials, and then come back to me. Or those who already want to know how it is can reach out to me directly in Facebook or through Steve, whatever is fine, and I'd be glad to do a discovery session with you. One more point, and for those people who have come here, I want to say that if you buy my hardcover book, I'll give you a full 1 hour session free of cost to you. There is nothing, it's a no brainer for you, and you will gain many insights about you. Why am I again saying this? 12 years back, I quit the corporate life. At the prime of my life, I was actually a director then. At 42, I decided this is enough for me. I have worked for 20 years. My calling is no more on this line or ambition. So I would want to give it back to society. I wanted to serve. So that's what I'm doing for the last 12 years. And it'll be an honor to serve you people who are all aspirants who have come here and wanted to have a better life. You will just need that and a little bit of willpower and consistent application to get into vigilant mindset, and then you are set for your entire life. So thank you, gentlemen and ladies, and all the best for you in your life. Thank you.